It's Patrick at Pals, 57 Thunderbird. They are iconic. They are beautiful, beautiful cars. Now you look at this car, it came in looking just like this. Why is it here? Well, car quit running and it had some problems, little niggling things that needed to be repaired to make the car a better driver for the customer. We talk about this a lot. Making the car not only cosmetically better, but mechanically better so that it's dependable. When this car came in, it wouldn't run. And the reason it wouldn't run is the owner thought he was doing it a favor and he upgraded the coil to too hot of a coil. And the car has still got a points system. So this resistor right here, this is a resistor that most old cars with points had, and that resistor blew. So we had to put in a new porcelain resistor. So even though it looks like it's steel outside, it's porcelain inside. You can see the white here, and it's porcelain with a spring. So we put in a new resistor. We put on a old school coil that's meant for a points system. Then we had to replace the points, and we timed the car, set the dwell, set the timing, and the car ran beautiful. So then the car was idling in the shop and it did great. We took it down the road, and after about 10 miles we had a problem. The car died out. Well, we know our ignition is good. We know that the carburation is good because we just set all that. We set the timing, we set the ignition, we knew it was right. So now we start with the fuel tank. And of course, fuel tank is underneath in the back, and it's got a place you can go in the trunk and get into it and take a look in the tank. And what was happening is there was debris in the tank, rust, and that rust was getting in what we call the fuel sock, which is the filter for the pickup that brings the fuel to the carburetor. And that was clogging up with debris. Now, with most old cars, you can just replace the sender. With this car, the sock or filter screen is part of the tank. So when this happens, you have to replace, well, you can do two things. You could recondition the tank and vulcanize it, which is one option, or you can replace it. We talked to our customer, he wanted to replace the tank. So we replaced the tank with an aftermarket tank, which has a new screen and pickup. So now the car is running good, it's ready to go, but customer still got other problems. Inside the car, he's got air vents, and that brings in fresh air to keep him cool when he needs it. Well, those vents were not routed properly and they were disconnected. You know, this car is now 66 years old, and in 66 years, a lot of things can happen to a car. We rerouted those vents, so now he gets fresh air. And then we had a problem with the window. And this car has got power windows. You can see it over there on the passenger side down at the bottom. And the power window switch didn't work. So he couldn't get this window to work consistently. So we repaired that, and now he can get the windows to work. Another thing that happened is, throughout this car's life, somebody put backup lights on it, and they routed them so that they only worked when the headlights were on. So we had to reroute those wires so that now the backup lights work whether the headlights are on or not. Now all these things are small things that add up. All the things that we repaired inside the interior will make the car more friendly to drive, make it a better driving experience. Of course, everything that we did with the engine and ignition system and fuel system is essential to make sure that the car drives. Every vehicle deteriorates over time. And when these are occasional cars, the owners don't pay as much attention to them as they do their regular driver, because they're only driving them once a week, or sometimes once a month, or sometimes they sit for 6 months at a time or a year at a time, and these things kind of fall to the wayside. The best advice for an old car like this, a classic, is to drive it 2 to 3 times a week. And each time you drive it, put at least 20 miles on it. If you do that, the car is going to respond. It's going to begin to work like a daily driver. And that's what you want. You want these cars to work like a daily driver. You want to be able to get in them, turn the key, and drive down the road. Now, if you let the car sit for a month or 2 months and then get in it, it's going to take that car a little bit of time to get back on its feet, get everything working. If you've got a classic like this 57 Thunderbird, bring it to pals. And if you have a classic, drive the thing. Drive it 2 or 3 times a week. With 60 miles a week on it in Florida, you end up with 3,000 miles a year. The car will run perfect and reward you, and you'll have a lot of fun and a lot of smiles going down the road. See you soon.